Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. I hope everybody's well and might I suggest you grab yourself a glass of wine because today I'm going to be talking about everybody's favourite, Branson, Julia and Betty. Guys, it's official, the Ebird's completely unable to watch Betty without some sort of inebriant. So today we're going to be discussing the vice-like grip that Betty has over Brandon's life. And I'm going to give them a few top tips on how to release that grip. Very quickly before we start, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to me thus far, and actually an even bigger thank you to everyone who contributes to the discussion underneath. Guys, I'm enjoying your comments this week. I have a couple of little mini videos that I want to make off the back of some of your comments, so stay tuned for that at the weekend, and if you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's a great time over here. And also, if you enjoy the video, please smash the like button. It does make a difference. Right, so without further ado, I give you Branson and Julia. So Betty and Ron are going away for the night. And Julia tells production, I'm so happy, this is just what I want. I want to spend time alone with Branson. Now come on Julia, give credit where credit's due. Betty and Ron allow you 15 minutes every morning when Branson brings you tea. But guys, I really liked what I saw this week. This very scene showed me the love that Branson and Julia have for each other and also the sexual chemistry, the connection. I definitely think this relationship's going to work. And you know the Ebird loves love. And as they're standing on the veranda waiting for Betty and Ron to go, they're holding hands and they're hugging each other. And you can see they're just so excited to spend time alone. And so Betty and Ron tootle off. And Branson and Julia decide, let's get into the hot tub. And so they both completely strip off and they dive into the hot tub and they're laughing and joking and whooping it up. And I think it's fair to say they make the very most of their evening. And Branson tells production later, this shows us how life will be when we're on our own. And then he looked at the camera and said, when are my parents gonna leave? And he accompanied this statement with quite a sinister and unnerving laugh. Branson, what do you mean, when are they going to leave? Do you mean leave the farm or leave the house? Or leave the land of the living? Branson, the only way this pair are leaving are in caskets and you know it. And what seemed like almost seconds later, Betty and Ron return. Aww. And it's quite clear to me that Betty and Ron had got on their hands and knees and gone around the whole farm with a magnifying glass, trying desperately to ascertain what Branson and Julia got up to when they weren't there. Betty's forensic analysis paid off because before too long, guess what she found? Yep. The corner of the cover to the hot tub was somewhat askew. And in an instant, Betty knew what they'd been up to. So Betty, Branson and Julia were in the kitchen and Betty said, right you guys, I need a word with you outside now. And they all traipsed outside. And Betty said, did you really leave this hot tub looking like that? Come on Branson, you can do it. Stand up to your mum. Stand up to Betty. Yeah, I think the wind must have done that. One day, Branson, you're going to have to grow a pair. If not now, when? Betty is so overbearing. Did you leave the hot tub looking like that? Well, let's think about this for a second. It looks like that, and I'm the last one to use it, so probably, yes, I did. And what? And then Betty lied through her teeth when she said, we don't mind you guys enjoying the farm. Betty, love, your pants are on fire. But I just can't believe this. And then she picked up the lid and she looked in and she said, oh my God, the water's cloudy. Betty, they're your grandkids. You're very welcome to fish them out. And then she said, did you wear clothes? And Branson said, no, we didn't wear any clothes. And guys, at this point, I was sitting with my head in my hands thinking, Branson, why did you say that? But as it turns out, that's what Betty wanted. Betty believes that if you wear a swimming costume or clothes into the hot tub, detergent from your clothes makes the water cloudy in some way. And she has to drain the whole hot tub, which is an awful lot of work. In fact, she has to send out for a little Romanian orphan to come and do it for her. Such is the workload. I'm very surprised she didn't just add it to Julia's list of jobs. But Julia's standing there, confused as all hell, and she said, but I don't understand. We're not allowed to sleep in the same bed, but yet we have to be naked when in the hot tub. Yes, that's correct, Julia, but Betty's forgotten to tell you one thing. She never wants to let you in the hot tub, because she then goes on to say, we use this hot tub for therapy, not for entertainment. And it's clear to me from this whole exchange, these guys can't do anything. They're like two young children living at home. And Julia tried to get Branson together and she said, Branson, you always say what people want to hear. You have to say what's in your heart. And Brandon said, there's no point arguing with my mum because you can never win. And guys, the Ebird's quite an argumentative little biatch when she wants to be, but I don't even think I'd bother to take Betty on. She doesn't seem to respond well to logic or reasoned debate. I can understand why Brandon believes her to be a lost cause. She's so nonsensical. She sees everything only from her own point of view. And whatever's good for Betty is what everybody else should be putting up with. Loads of you guys in the comments have been saying, oh, forget Brandon, he's useless, and Julia's wasting her time. And I say this, he's an only one on a remote farm with not that many friends probably around, and he's literally had to deal his whole life with the tyrant that is Betty. You can tell that Ron has already been beaten down by her, and she seems to bulldoze whoever's in her way. So it's unsurprising to me that Brandon hasn't developed the mettle yet to stand up to her, but I think Julia should stick with it because I see it coming. And he did do one thing which made me laugh in this exchange. When Betty said, we use this hot tub for therapy, he openly laughed in her face, and you could see she was absolutely apoplectic with rage because of that. So the next time we meet up with this couple, Brandon and Julia are watching TV in the bedroom. And again, Betty walks in and says, can I have a word on the porch? And Ron's already out there. Guys, it's an ambush. And Betty explains that she doesn't think that Julia and Brandon understand that they need them to help on the farm. Oh, they understand all right. They understand. And then Ron says, we need to talk about a few things that's going on here at the farm. And then he rattles on about how Brandon makes cups of tea for Julia in the morning. And he doesn't even see Brandon anymore because he's busy with all the animals. So you should be. It's your bloody farm. And he expresses to Brandon that he's not pulling his weight. So you're absolutely not doing anything. And then Betty turns on Julia and she tells her, I need you to get up at 7 AM to feed the animals. They have to be fed at 7 AM every morning. And that's absolutely not true, but we'll come to that a little bit later. But Julia said, no, I never get up before 11. I'm better in the afternoon and evening. And Ron was arguing with this and he said, well, you can train yourself to get up at any time. And that's absolutely true, you can. But I think Julia's main point is she doesn't really want to. But Ron says the animals need feeding at the same time every day, and as usual, Betty's not listening. Betty says, well, I need you to try and get up with me at 7 AM every morning. We have chores to do, and you guys have to help. And so I spent a little bit of time arguing with people in the comments section last week with regard to this issue. And as I said previously, I used to work on a farm, and it was a dairy farm that we had about 200 Friesians. And so I know a tiny bit about farms, but not very much. I was very young. But it seems to me as if the farming community is a little stuck in its ways. And so now it's time for Cogito Ergo Sum with Ebird. And as you know, I always like to think outside the box, and we're all supposed to be free thinking, and I believe in not necessarily following the rules if they don't make full sense. So Julia doesn't want to get up early, let's come to a compromise. So according to Ron, the animals need to be fed every day at 7 AM sharp. Unfortunately, Ron, this is not so, but I've been searching extensively and I've discovered that most animals need feeding either once or twice a day, and it is ideal for them to have regular feeding times. However, there's nothing that says this needs to be at 7 AM. And an animal's body clock, just the same as ours, is governed by the circadian rhythm. However, if the animal needs feeding once every 24 hours, it doesn't actually matter when, during daylight hours, that it actually is. And my research has also led me to discover that herbivorous animals spend most of their awake time eating, and their bodies are set up to graze all day. And I know the goats and the sheep get grain and other food, but really they should be in a paddock with grass, not in a muddy paddock as Betty and Ron have them, and they should be able to eat grass all day at will. So it's Ebird's contention that Julia be allowed to arise at 10 or 10:30 AM and then go and feed the animals, and as long as it's the same time every single day, it's not going to make any difference. And also, can we stop calling this farm a farm? It's a couple of animals on a strip of land. And guys, as far as I'm concerned, Betty and Ron just want to be able to manipulate every area of Brandon and Julia's life. Living at that farm's pretty much like being in prison. It's almost as bad for Julia and Brandon as it is for the dogs they have in cages, which is incidentally disgusting. But at least I suppose at some point the puppies managed to escape the despotic regime at Betty and Ron's farm. And we're yet to see if Julia and Brandon can manage this. So they finish up by saying no more taking tea to Julia in the morning. And then Brandon yet again throws Julia under the bus, and he says, well, it's all Julia's fault. When I go in the morning to give her tea, she always wants me to hang around with her. And Julia looked at him and said, do not blame me. Like I said earlier, Brandon, grow a pair, you freaking Betty clone. And Ron said, no more tea in the morning. And at this point Julia said, I need time for myself. You guys continue your chat. And Ron said, you've got to start growing up, Brandon. Soon enough you're going to have a wife to take care of. Yes, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to take care of a wife and not take care of your businesses. And guys, it grinds my gears that Betty and Ron are so entitled. This is your business, this is your dream, this is your life, this is what you want to do. If you want to make extra money by having a farm on the side and also having all these animals, that's down to you. Julia didn't sign up for any of this, and it's all very well Ron saying, oh, she's eating and drinking and sleeping here, that's got to be paid for. She had somewhere to eat, drink and sleep back in Russia, her parents' place. You haven't taken some homeless waif off the street. She's only there to marry your son. If Brandon was paid for the work that he's doing, as the law requires, then he'd have more than enough money for he and Julia to move out. But you don't want that, do you? No. Getting people to work for you for free has been outlawed by a series of employment laws, Betty, and you know this very well. You're doing something illegal, Betty. You're doing something wrong. You're breaking the law. Laws exist so that vulnerable people are protected from others, such as yourself. Betty, I deem you to be an exploitative gangmaster. And whilst we're at it, you can say what you like about go-go dancing, but at least it played a bloody wage. And later on, Julia goes to Brandon's room, and she says, when are we supposed to see each other? I'm here for 90 days so we can get to know each other. But if we don't see each other after work, and now we can't see each other before work, and you're at work all day, when are we supposed to spend time together? And Brandon just said, well, I guess we've got the rest of our lives to spend time together. Have you? Not if Betty and Ron have got anything to do with it. And so the next time we see this couple, it's at a weekend. And Ron says to Brandon, I want you to come and help me move all these hay bales around in a barn. Brandon's living the dream. And so they're all sitting at the breakfast table waiting for Julia. They're asking, where is she? Betty, you know where she is. She's in her room, avoiding you. And so finally Julia gets up. And Ron said, would you like a cup of tea? And Betty said, no, it's too late for tea. We've got to give these animals breakfast. Again, Betty said, why are you late? How is she late? She hasn't got a job. She's doing you a favour. You cannot be late to a favour. And Betty said, you're going to have to try harder to get up on time. And so Betty and Julia walk out towards the animals. And what's this I spy? It turns out that cups of tea are mobile. Betty takes her cup of tea with her. Julia's not allowed to have tea because Gangmaster Betty says so. Meanwhile, in the barn, Ron asked, how did Julia take what we said the other day? And Brandon said she said she'd try. And Ron said, well then how come Julia didn't get up early this morning? Ron, how would Brandon know? He's not allowed to see her in the mornings anymore, remember? And then Brandon gives us all a window into his world. And my God, guys, I had my calculator at the ready for this one. So Brandon tells us his day begins at 5 AM when he wakes up to deal with the animals. He works until 7:30 and then he has to rush to work and be there for 8. He works his pest control job from 8 until 5 PM and then at 5 PM he gets home and looks after the animals for another couple of hours. So Brandon's average weekday is a 14-hour day. And then on weekends he does 3 or 4 hours with his parents, again helping on the farm. And guys, honestly, I feel extremely sorry for Brandon because he seems to have no life. He has no room to develop himself or have outside interests. And then Ron climbs a ladder and stands in the loft of the barn. And he said, all of this can be yours one day. Do you want to give all of this up? Oh my God, Jeff Bezos, eat your heart out. Brandon met this offer with silence. He said not one word. And to production, Ron said, Julia's certainly having an effect on Brandon. Brandon's changing for her and not for himself. Wrong again, Ron, because Brandon actually said, this was never my dream. My dream is Julia. Brandon needs to go and find himself and discover what makes him happy. This is all he knows at the moment. He works 14 hours a day. He has no time to think what opportunities might lie out there that he would be interested in. And that's where we end things for this week. So my take on the whole thing is this. Brandon's parents never see him away from that farm. They treat he and Julia as if they're little children just because they're living with them. I kind of low-key thought this before, but now I'm going to lay it out to you. It's my contention that by making them work for free on the farm, they're making money and Brandon and Julia are being massively disadvantaged. Brandon says he's got 10 grand's worth of debts and that he can't afford to move out probably for about 6 months. And I low-key think that Betty and Ron are holding this farm over Brandon's head, as in, if you work for free on the farm, for the next 50 years. One day, it's all going to be yours. He doesn't want it, Betty and Ron, and I believe he probably already owns it. In unpaid salary. If I were him, I'd take you to an employment tribunal. I really would. So I think we can all agree Branson and Julia need to move out. So listen up guys, luckily for you, the Ebird has dusted off her get the fuck out of Dodge calculator. And she's worked out just how you can do it. Branson and Julia, the Ebird's about to free you from tyranny. So first up, I had a look for an apartment to see how much that would cost per month. I found this beautiful 1-bed loft in somewhere called Petersburg, which is not too far from where they live. And as you can see, this is $900 a month. So next up, I ascertained that the average salary for a pest control operative is about $38,000 a year. So next up, his second job on the farm. And my research tells me that the average base salary for a farmhand is $12.76 per hour. And so on an average week, Brandon works 28 hours for Betty and Ron. So 28 times 12.76 is $357.28 per week. And times that by 52, that's $18,578 annually. And we divide that again by 12 to get a monthly salary. So 3166 plus 1548 is $4,714 per month. So now let's work out the tax. And your guys' taxation system is markedly different from ours. And what I did find unbelievable was that apparently in Virginia the top rate of tax is 5.75%. If that's the case, Betty, Ron, is there room for a little Ebird on your farm? But because I found this too hard to believe, I just decided to use the net average of tax in the United States, which is 24%. So 4714 minus 24% gives a grand total of $3,582 per month. So if we take off $900 for rent, he's still left with $2,682 per month to live on. Guys, if they ever decide to pay him properly, he'd be able to do it. And by rights, we should just leave it there. But guys, you know the Ebird. There's no point in having a mark if you don't regularly overstep it. So as I said a little bit earlier, Brandon should make $18,576 per year. I'm imagining he's worked on the farm since he was 13, he's now 28. So if I times that by 15 for those 15 years, it's my contention that Betty and Ron owe Brandon $278,640. Betty and Ron, we need full and immediate payment. Well then I'm afraid I'm going to have to take your farm. You can move into the barn whilst you sort yourselves out. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think Betty and Ron are holding Branson and Julia back? I would assume they're paying him something, but I doubt they're paying him 18 grand a year. And do we think that Betty and Ron are very blinkered in their thinking? They think they're going to take a city girl, a designer and a dancer by trade. Julia went to university and studied design. They think this person is suddenly going to be a farmhand and be really happy about it. Betty always says there are chores to be done. Chores are washing the pots or making the beds. Chores aren't actually taking up a position of employment. And what do you think to the popular theory that Betty is being a gangmaster just because she wants to get rid of Julia? I guess it's possible. And finally, do we think that Brandon needs to assert himself with his parents, and if so, how does he do this? I'm actually with Brandon. I don't think there's any point in arguing with them. Sometimes Ron speaks so much shit, my ears are literally dripping with blood. So guys, tell me what you think, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. It's a fun time over here. And thank you guys so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.